to remain Jewish democratic state. You know, in the US society it was so simple. It was the first, I think they were the first who started using code word Zionism, meaning Jews. And it was so simple because when they were speaking about Zionist agents, they were arresting writers and Jewish writers and sending them to prison. They were firing doctors from their jobs, and they were restricting Jewish youth in their being accepted to the universities. And nobody was deceived. Every speech of Soviet leader against Zionist crimes, or every publication in Pravda newspaper against Zionist agents of American imperialism, meant that new anti-Semitic campaign is now developing, and everybody knew about it. Today it's much more difficult. When Ahmadinejad organizes a conference, World Without Zionism, and he proudly declares there that we are now developing weapons which will help us to implement this dream of the world without Zionism, there are immediately voices that don't confuse it with anti-Semitism. Because look, he's not killing his Jewish community in Iran, so he's not anti-Semite. When respectable European writer, Nobel Prize winner, says that he doesn't recognize Israel's right to exist anymore because he believes that Israel created new Auschwitz for Palestinians, immediately there are voices whether you can accept this passionate comparison or not, but you cannot say that it's anti-Semitism, they say, because it's only part of our political discourse. Anti-Semitism always targets, aims at Jewish identity. And when in the Christian Europe, in Middle Ages, identity made, first of all, faith, anti-Semitism targeted Jewish faith. It was demonized, delegitimized, and so on. When the Enlightenment came and emerged Europe of nations, of proud nations, and Jews felt themselves first of all as a nation, they emerged national anti-Semitism, which of course became extremely dangerous in Austria, then in Germany, and you know how it finished. Today, what to do today in the world, for most of Jews, very important, if not central part of their identity, is their solidarity with Israel as embodiment of Jewish history and Jewish dream and Jewish prayers. And anti-Semitism concentrates on attacking, on delegitimizing, on denying Israel. And as to Israel, Israel is at the same time in 3 wars. We are in the middle of the world of totalitarianism. Look at the last report of Freedom House only 2 weeks ago. Again, Middle East is singled as the most non-democratic part of the world. And again, it said that there is only one country which is, by the categories of Freedom House, which is free, it is Israel. And it's natural that we are in the middle of these wars against all these dictators for whom we are a danger. The second war is war against fundamentalism, against terrorist fundamentalism. Again, Muslim fundamentalism, unfortunately, is threatening in many parts of the world. But in the Middle East, the only territory which is politically controlled by non-Muslim entities is Israel. So we are naturally becoming the target, and at the same time we are the allies, not only of the free world, but those enlightened regimes in the Middle East, which are not fundamentalists. But there is the third war, which is the most difficult, because it is a war inside the free world. It's the war for our right to be a Jewish democratic state, while being the part of the world who doesn't believe in national states, who says to us that all the wars are because of nationalism. And we overcame our nationalism, we overcame our colonial past, and you have to overcome your colonial past. And you have to stop being national state. And the world of post-identity, as they call it, is the world of pacifism and appeasement. It wants peace. It's natural. We all want peace. So, but how it works when Israel government, between all these 3 wars, has to make decisions. Let me take you for a minute to some of the most dramatic meetings of Israel governments. For example, in summer of 2001. We are just now having for weeks, for months already, we have waves of suicide bombings, and each time 2 or 3 people are killed in the street or in the cafe. And suddenly, big success for terrorists. The terrorist comes to the discotheque in the center of Tel Aviv and kills 30 people, 30 young, 16-year-old boys and girls who came after their final exams and celebrated that they graduated from the school. So 30 kids are killed. All the country is in shock. There is emergency meeting of Israeli government on Shabbat. I can tell you, 10 years I was in the government meetings. Only once it was on Shabbat. Some of the members had to get special permission from their rabbis to participate. And the military brings their solution. They say, we cannot continue targeting, trying to prevent every specific terrorist. We have to go to the nest of this terror, to Jenin and to Ramallah and to Shechem. And practically everybody agrees. But every 15 minutes, our foreign minister is going out because another leader of the world calls, free world, comes back and says, the world is with us. The world is full of sympathy, full of solidarity, full of support. They are ready to support us on any level. But the world doesn't want us to turn all this into the real war. The world doesn't want us to go to Ramallah and Jenin and to fight there. So let's not lose the solidarity of the world. And at the end of this very difficult meeting, Prime Minister decides to wait. So our Secret Service will continue looking to find out who sent this terrorist. Our army will try to target this person responsible somewhere 500 miles from here, or 100 miles from here, or maybe already in Syria and in Iran, but we will not be launching any big campaign in order the world will be with us. Because we are part of the free world, and we don't want to be singled out. And then there are another 9 months with every week terrorists are more and more encouraged, and our situation is more and more difficult, and then 9/11 happens, and then our minister is killed by terrorists, and terrorist acts continue, and in 9 months from this, it reached 130 people a month. Killed civilians, Jews and Arabs, killed in the cafe or on the bus stations, stops. And then comes the famous terrorist attack on the Leil Seder, at the night of Seder, of the Passover, when another 30 people are killed. And again we have emergency meeting of the government throughout the night, from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. And the same plan which our military brought 9 months ago, 1,000 victims less were killed before. The same plan is approved now. And yes, we go to Jenin, and yes, we go to Ramallah, because the government of the democratic country has no choice but to protect its citizens. And what happens? Those who were warning us happen to be absolutely right. The world condemned us. United Nations condemned us. The world press condemned us. Because we are in London, I will remind that English press was not among the most shy. Independent called us the worst crime against humanity after the Holocaust. The fact that we went to Jenin. The